All right, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Catfish Weekly. I am the greatest host of all time. I am Chadwick. I've got my sidekicks here with me. We've got Josh Dunnigan, the Weekend Angler. You never checked him out. He's got an amazing channel, and sometimes he posts not once but twice, maybe even 3 times a lady he takes to post a short tip Saturday, but he will get it to you each and every week. And last but certainly not least, the greatest show on earth, at least in the catfish world, the leader of it all, Lyle Stokes.
Hey, buddy, how's it going?
Doing great, sir.
Extra heavy on that, sir. I don't get it much.
What? All right. So, have you ever wondered about building a rod, Josh?
Every once in a while, but I probably don't need any more hobbies.
I have thought about the same, but I thank goodness, and Lyle's listening to music and everything else. Get back in the show, pal. But I thank goodness for people like Lyle who builds rods for me, so I can just spend the money. And everything else. Get back in the show. We'll let Lyle get set up there. He's trying. He's trying, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get his volume down. I muted him there for a second so he can figure out what is going on. Give us the thumbs up when you've got yourself muted and yourself all figured out there, Lyle. All right.
There we go.
All right. Well, let's say hi to people in chat real quick here, Josh, and then we'll get started.
We can do that. We got Mr. Mike Irvin starting us out. We got Mikey Greenwell from Greenwell Fishing. Mr. James Dockery Fishing, the happiest fisherman on YouTube. Let's see here. Cat Life Outdoors. Pontoon Jody has joined us. The great Uncle Lou. Mr. Lee Reed is in here. Let's see here. Miss Valerie Irwin is in here. Carolina Catfish. John Patrick Jr. Cat Life Outdoors. Crappie Day Fish On is in here. Cold Creek Catfishing Billy is in. Miss Annette Morgan. Tom from LG Bass has joined us. Let's see here. Wabash Nate. Michelle from It's All Mine. Mr. Dale Hayslip is in here. Big Wrench Catfishing is in. Mark from Catfish and Crappie. And guys, if you don't know, Mark will be live after the show tonight. Jerry Parker from Parker Pursuits is in here. Team Snag and Whiskers, Dustin's joined us. Trophy Seeker Outdoors is in here. James from Patriot Catfishers of America is in here. Good evening, James. Real and Virtual Outdoors. Let's see. Spring Mountain Catfishing, Lisa's in. And I think I'm caught up. Did I miss any, Chad?
We got a couple folks still coming in here. We got Dustin, Team Snag and Whiskers. I'm not sure. I kind of dozed off when you were talking. You got your radio voice on.
Have I got my Murillo voice rolling?
Got your Murillo / Park voice going on, and we got Parker Pursuits. What's going on, my friend? Weed Hopper Fishing. Dale Hayslip. I think you might have said him, but I think that's about it. There's my buddy John Boys. People coming in. Good evening, everybody who's just joined us. Tonight, we're going to talk a little bit about rod building. And who else would be a great person to talk to other than Blackhorse Custom Rods?
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Lyle Stokes himself. Hi, Lyle.
Hey, buddy, how's it going?
Doing all right. We're ready to see you build some awesome rods.
Oh, we're going to start out tonight, Chad. The butt cap and the rear. Oh, damn. The rear grip is already on. But Mark, we're going to do a reel seat on, and then we're going to, after we shape this, and then we are going to put the front grip on, and we'll see how much time we got left in.
All righty.
Like I told you guys earlier today, there's no way you can show everything one night, so we'll have to make And then I spilled glue all over the table, so I got to clean it up here in a minute.
Mark said Mark dropped a super chat, Lyle. He said he's leaving his down payment on his next Krampus cane.
Sweet, sweet. Mark has a Krampus cane and he has a bumping rod, so.
Well,
Not sure how.
I'll just take that super chat off the screen then if he's going to brag about how much he's got.
I'm not sure that he's going to do much bumping up there on the Fox River, but
The mighty Fox.
Yeah.
mighty.
I know you're getting ready to get going on here, but I will have questions for you throughout. But
That's I
What are you
expect
wiping
that.
that epoxy up with, Lyle? Naphtha?
I'm acetone.
Acetone.
I also, for cleanup, I also use alcohol, but for epoxy, acetone's the very best way to do it, and you get it cleaned up, and it dries itself, and you don't have to worry about the mess or nothing.
Hey, there's Miss Betty Cross in here. Reminded she's been a Catfish Weekly member for 10 months.
That's awesome. Thank you, Betty.
Says, hi, Pops.
Hello there, kiddo. Hope Brandon's doing well. We think about him all the time.
so I know you've got a little bit of work done already to this, where you're starting that, right?
Yes.
So tell us, I guess, maybe start a little bit, with the blank, choosing blanks and reel seat, like order that you put this stuff on.
Okay. This is, in fact, this is the wrong reel seat for this rod, but this is a bump and rod blank. It is 65,000 modulus of graphite, which is extremely high graphite. They're very stiff because you want to be able to feel everything when you're bumping, you want to be able to feel everything on the bottom. Nobody uses anything bigger than 45 billion modulus of graphite in their rods except me. We was the very first company to ever build a bumping rod. And I know that these guys send them overseas to try to have them copied, because these guys that sell these foreign-made blanks, they have to understand, I've been dealing with them people for 40 years. I know them all. They call me and tell me. So it's not a big deal to me, but, they could have the information. All they have to do is ask for it. But instead, they'd rather sneak around. Either way. The deal with these are, you got to have them so sensitive that if you hit sand, or if you hit a pebble, or if you hit a rock, or if it bounces off a piece, you need to know what that is when you hit the bottom. Right. And that's why we use such a high quality blank. My blanks that I build bumping rods on cost a lot more, just a blank, than a complete bumping rod made in China. It's just a fact. And that's because if you get something from me, I want it to be the best money can buy. And that's what I try to do. Yeah. Now, do I have issues? Once in a while, yeah. Everybody does. I've got one guy that's broke two of them. He's the only person that's ever broke. There's only been 3 or 4 of them bumping rods ever built in the last 10 years. And he broke 2 of them. So I don't know what he's doing. Doesn't matter. We take care of it. That's the way it is. We just fix it. We're a fixer. We fix things. Now,
I'm just amazed to see one that's using a graphite blank when everything else is, fiberglass. Yeah. You get so much more feeling out of a graphite rod.
You do. And I have to tell you that I've made a mistake. This is not a bumping rod. Let me pull this off of here and get the bumping rod. I was going by the camo. This is my grandson's rod. It's e-glass.
Oh, okay.
I grabbed the wrong one. Hang on. The more I looked at that, the more it didn't look correct. And I got telling this, and then I'm lying to you. But this is the bumper rod.
Now, are you putting that in like a vise, or are you putting that in a lathe?
I have a lathe. In fact, I have 3 of them. 2 of them that can be used at random. I've had as many as all 3 of them set up here in the shop at one time. But I just run out of room. And to be honest, I try not to do any more than what I'm doing right now. I tell people when they order stuff, I'll be happy to build it for you. But if you can't wait till I get it done, please don't. I can recommend you somebody else who's faster, because I'm not going to get in a hurry anymore. I'm retired. So if you can't wait.
Freddie from Freddie's Outdoor Adventures wants to know what your feelings are on carbon fiber rods.
I'll never, until they make them better quality, I won't use blanks like that. I've had companies send me dozens of them, and they're just not there yet. They're not there where I can say I built that blank. They're just not there. Now, at some point, I'm sure they will be, but until they get there and I can put my name on it and say I'll give you a lifetime warranty on it, I won't use carbon fiber blanks. They're just not there. Now, if somebody sends me one tomorrow and I check it out and I say, okay, I can back this, then I'd probably buy some. But I think every company in the business has sent me some, and I've actually only built 2 or 3 of them because I didn't like them. They're usually so flimsy that they're an embarrassment. So if I can't put my name on it, I won't build on it. That's just the way it is. And yet I've yet to see one that I was confident enough in to say, okay, I can build on this and I can guarantee it for life and it won't be an issue.
There we go.
Well, one last thing before you get into this rod here is, so I know you've built fly rods and bumping rods. You've built several different kinds of rods, right? You got the Krampus cane line that's out.
Right, I'll do anything.
But what's your favorite rod to actually build on?
My favorite rod to build is these bumping rods because I designed them. I got with a company to make the blank. That's why people send them everywhere to get them copied, because I won't tell them, unless they pay me, I won't tell them how they're made, what they're made out of, how much of this and how much is that in them. We worked for 3 years to get them where they're at, and nobody's been able to copy them yet and get them the way they are. I've had companies that wanted to buy the formula for it, and I would have been happy to sell it to them. And it wasn't a big price. It was a percentage of what business they'd done, and they thought that I was crazy. So crazy as I am, we went on, continued to do things the way it is. And then later on, a couple of years later, I've had guys call and say, boy, I wish I'd have done it that way because we got a lot more in it now than what we'd had if we just paid you what you wanted. I figured that. But it is what it is. I had some really good guys that we pro staffed when I come out with these bumping rods. Jason Jackson, Jason Mathena. I promise you, if it can be broke, those boys can break it. And they had them for years and years with 0 issues. So once we got the final product done, then I knew we was good. And one of I'll just tell you, we found blanks that I liked, but you couldn't get them in a 7-foot 6-inch rod. So we would buy 8-foot ones and cut them off, and we'd buy 7-foot ones and extend them. And we done every crazy thing that you could imagine for 3 years until we hit the formula that everybody liked and didn't give any issues. And at that point, I contact the manufacturer, say, okay, this is the rod I need. I need a 7'6". And it took them about 7 or 8 months to finally get one that was exactly the same. And that's the blank that we're still building on today. And I have an agreement with that company that nobody can buy them from them. They have to come through me, and I won't sell them to anybody unless you want to do it the way I want to do it. And it's very simple. I want $5 a blank for every rod you sell. you can sell 1 million of them. I'm not asking for a bunch of money. I think that's a fair deal. I want it for 10 years, but then I won't care one way or the other.
Yeah.
And everybody thinks I'm nuts. So nuts as I am, we'll continue doing them. It's very simple. But building rods is not hard. Anybody can build one. I've got a fairly elaborate setup here for an old guy, but it serves the purpose of what we do. And like I say, I come out here and I build rods when I want to. And if you can't wait, then please don't order from me.
I can't wait.
I'm not in a hurry.
Oh.
But, you know, we do a lot. And these are specialty stuff. This is camo stuff. And you can get it. It's available to everyone. With a bumping rod, you got to have a triggered reel seat. You don't have to have, but it gives you another contact point. And every once in a while, I get a shipment of blanks in. It's the same blank, but underneath of it, you'll be able to get a reel seat that has a cutout where you can touch the blank. That's awesome.
Oh, that would be
but
good.
But every blank is different. They're just like people. They're an individual, and you'll get a run of them where the reel seat is too small to fit on the blank, and you can't do that. You can't get it back far enough to do it. So at that point, you got to go to these type, and that's what we're at here. If I could get them all the same, that would be awesome. But then you take a chance. That's the difference with say, for me to buy stuff at a decent price, they want you to buy 500 blanks at the same time. Well, nobody can buy 500 of the same thing because 500 people is going to want 400 different items. So there's only certain things that we stock anymore, and we just order in and build them to go. And when your order comes up, if you're in line, then that's how it works. I just like doing it. You know, I've been doing this since 1984.
1984.
The first rod I built, I used myself. It was a bass rod. I was fishing a lot of bass tournaments, and I was breaking rods about every 3 months. And I built one. I had it for years and years and years. And I built the second one, was a fly rod, and it's in my brother's gun cabinet. It has only been out one time. It's only been used one time. It's still in his gun cabinet. It was built in 1984. Yep. If you guys
Eddie said that before she was born.
Yeah, I'm sure. If you guys want to take care of chat, this here, if you notice, the EVA foam that goes on this is bigger than the reel seat, and I want to shape that. And if you'll turn off the volume, because I'm going to be running a vacuum sweeper in the lathe, and I'm going to try to shape that. And then when I get it down to where it's close, you guys can pop my volume back on. But you guys can talk about different things or whatever, and I'll try to shape this particular one, and then we'll hook this up, and then we'll attach the front grip for everybody.
Okay, before you get started.
Okay.
Weed Hopper Fishing would like to know what kind of reel seat that is you're using on this rod.
I use nothing except Fuji reel seats, except for aluminum. Aluminum reel seats, I use 2 or 3 different brands that they're very high quality. Pac Bay is one of them. I'm trying to think of the other. I use some stuff from Batson, and but Fuji. People say these are plastic. Well, maybe, but Fuji uses a carbon graphite reel seat. The problem with most of them is this nut right here will loosen up while you're using them, fishing, and that's aggravating to everybody that's ever had it happen to them. But Fuji's don't. They stay tight.
I've never really had any issues with that specific style. I have more problems with the aluminum reel seats coming undone than those.
Absolutely. But these I just don't have issues with. I've been using them for years and years and years. And if I don't have a problem with something, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
That's right.
It's just the way it is. But like I said, tonight we're going to try to shape this one. I'll shape these other two at a different time, but I'll shape this particular one. We'll glue this on, and then hook this up to where you can see how we make it fit, because if you see the hole in here is bigger than the blank. So we have to build arbors up, and then we'll build a thing up when we put the decal in this area to make that work.
Okay.
But I'll shape this. You guys can entertain the masses, and then they'll know what I have to do to this and this. There'll be a decal that goes in here. Of course, there'll be a decal in the front.
Sounds good, my friend.
All right, we're going to meet you here.
All right. We will let Lyle start shaving right here in front of us.
Get that lathe going.
So do you think he has a electric one back there, or do you think he's riding a bicycle underneath that?
I think there's a mule somewhere out running on a wheel.
Yeah.
Or you know, he's got a carrot on a stick and it's running around trying to catch the carrot.
Yeah, I was actually picturing, you know, them old carts where they had the up down things guy on each side to make it go. Yeah. I was picturing, you know, somebody like Dockery and somebody else of his stature over there running it underneath, you know, the elves and the Krampus canes. But anyway,
Jerry Parker says he thinks Lyle planted the very first bamboo plant that started it all.
I'm glad I can't hear you.
Oh, I know.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Cindy can.
See,
starting to take shape there.
See, two stands is joined. Yeah, it's not taking a real long time for that to shape out.
I mean, it's EVA foam. I wonder, we'll have to ask him too, like what kind of sandpaper that is that he's using. That
looks like a.
And then I wonder.
Or so.
Well, I wonder as well, like once he gets to a certain point, does he have to use a finer, or is that particular? Probably mute him real quick.
He's got the vacuum cleaner running.
Oh, he does have the vacuum. Okay, I see it.
Yep.
But or does he? Yeah, does he have to use a finer sandpaper when he's done with that part of it, or does that one handle it pretty well? Be a good question.
All right, Lisa, I'll take a look after the show for a message. See if it's. I know you. I saw a friend request from you on Facebook, I believe, so I'll get with you after the show. I have a boat and a closet full of them. LG Bass has a slight G Loomis obsession. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with G Loomis. I can't afford one though, but my buddy did let me try out that Loomis he bought, and I like that rod.
I don't know if I've ever seen them.
They are very, very. He bought one for throwing like football jigs and stuff, bass fishing, and you could feel every little pebble on the bottom.
Really?
Yes. He goes, I'll let you try it, but he gave me like 2 casts with that thing, and then he took it away from me.
You making that nervous with it?
I don't know. I told him I've never, knock on wood, never thrown one out to boat or anything. So
hey, that happens.
That was actually before you did it. So I mean, I didn't know. Oh, did Lyle just? Oh, there he goes.
Yeah, he's still going. I mean, I think it's pretty cool. I love the pattern of the EVA foam and stuff that he's got there, but I think it's very interesting. I don't know that where he said that yes, anybody can really do this. I mean, even though he's so good at it, he's not even looking.
No, this takes some precision, and I mean, you're looking at handcrafted materials here. Yeah.
So this to me, for people watching, when you're going to a custom rod builder versus going and buying all the ugly sticks that are mass produced, right? This is an individual setting at a station, handcrafting. Obviously, they get the blanks in from somebody, but they've got all the eyes, they've got the foam, the reel seat, all that. They're building it piece by piece. And I know Lyle does a lot of work with the coloring and everything.
He has switched grits on that sandpaper now, it looks like.
Yes. I think you're right. Real-time catfishing. Mr. Parker. Let's see. Glumas are awesome rods. A bit pricey, but well worth the money. The IMX series are my favorite. Super lightweight and super sensitive.
Jody.
Jody. Jody doesn't have to worry about throwing her rods in because they're all attached to her hair. At least her reels are.
Oh, okay. Vacuum cleaner's off.
All right.
I think we can unmute. You're off mute, Lyle, just so you know.
Okay. Yep. I don't know if you can see this or not. We're down to 150 on this. It lines up not quite perfect, but really close. And the rest of this will take off with 220. And
Okay.
then I'll finish it up with 360, and it'll be smooth as a spank baby's butt.
Well, there we go.
Yeah, we were wondering that when you first started. So obviously you had some heavier grit stuff, right, to really get it going.
This is actually 80 grit.
Okay.
Or if this is 36 and I have 80.
Yeah, I told you 36 right there at the beginning.
Yeah, 36. And the reason is I use a lot of Hapalon, and they don't make it in the camo stuff like this guy wanted. This is Hapalon. You see, this is pretty soft, but EVA will eventually deteriorate. This Hapalon will last forever. They actually made the companies that make it change the formula for it because it would never deteriorate if it fell off. Say Chad threw one in the water, 100 years from now, it's still this Hapalon would still be there. The EVA foam probably would deteriorate, but this Hapalon wouldn't. So they was concerned about that for reasons beyond my knowledge. But anyhow, the thing about Hapalon is it's soft and it stays soft. It never gets hard from being out in the weather and stuff. So when you hold it, your hands can dent in it, and it's very forgiving. If your rod holder gets in it and mashes it, it'll always come back out. It is a little bit more expensive, but it's worth the effort. And it doesn't matter to me if you want Hapalon or EVA foam or cork. It all costs the same when I'm building. It's one price for everything. If this costs more, I just eat the difference. Go, because I'm not going to quabble about $3 or $4 worth of grip material.
Lyle, Stan would like to know if you use that same method, the sandpaper method, when you're dealing with cork handles on a rod.
Yes, but not nearly as aggressive as sandpaper. I have a wood lathe and the tools to use that with, and sometimes I use it. It's actually out in the shed behind the house right now, but I've used it on cork. You can buy these blocks of this instead of buying them round. You can buy them square, and if you do that, you have to use a regular lathe. I did see some comments while ago about G. Loomis blanks.
Yep,
I know Gary. We have visited numerous times. I tried to get Gary to build the bumping rod blanks for me, and he said there's no reason to make them 65 million modules of graphite. He said they don't need to be. I said, doesn't matter whether they need to be. That's what I want, and if you don't want to do it, got it. That's fine. We'll go someplace else. So the second stop was the company up north here that makes all the crappie rods. I can't think of the name of them right now, but anyhow, they didn't want to fool with them at all. Well, that's fine. I don't care. They really just not into catfish rods, or wasn't at the time. And I said, that's fine. I'll find somebody who wants to do it just like I want it. And I did. And that's who built them. So I'm trying to think of the other company, but they make a lot of really good stuff. And I build on both their blanks. Gary makes some wonderful blanks, and he's had 3 or 4 different companies over the years and ends up selling because he can make money selling them companies. So, hey, good for him.
Mark's in chat. He ought to be able to tell us the crappie rod blank people.
Yeah, I bet he loves their blanks, but I try to get the major companies to do. They either want to fool with me or they don't. And at the time, I was a lot bigger into this as I am now, and they was going to do it my way or the highway. So they didn't want to. That's okay. Hey, Troy, thank you so much.
Look at that, for a styrofoam noodle for the rod you make Chad.
I have, just so you know, you see this right here? Can you see that?
Uh-huh.
Wow.
This is not a noodle for Chad, but what this is a bobber. These are for James Dockery because he says he's going to go to Mendota with us next year.
Is that in case he falls out of the boat?
Line, so I made these so he couldn't throw them off his line. So.
I thought maybe you were going to tie that to the back of his, the neck of his shirt, so if he falls in, it'll keep him upright.
Really, man? Oh man, yeah, I can't. I'm sorry, I can't think of the name of that company up there. But
guys, we got 95 folks in here. Guys, if you take a moment, hit that thumbs up button.
Okay. It don't cost anything. It don't cost anything. So if you guys, what have I done?
It's hard telling.
Well, I touched something on this tablet and I'm back. There we go. I can see it.
Harley Dockery's made it in the night.
Yeah, Harley said that's a great idea. We just attached that bobber to James's ponytail.
Harley's one of my favorite grandchildren from that part of the family. And Dockery's daughter, both of them are really nice. Harley has done me some favors to get over on James a couple of times, so he scored a lot of points with me. Does that make sense?
It does.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to take this out of here, and I'm going to find the spine on this rod and mark it, and then we'll go from there. How's that?
Sounds good. Now, will you tell the people at home what you're talking about by marking the spine?
Every rod has a spine that is the natural curvature of the blank. Every one has one. Some of them are a lot more predominant than others, and most blanks have 2. They have a dominant spine, and they have one that's not so dominant. You always want to build on the dominant one. And what I do is hold it out by the tip, and I spin it and let it, right there's the spine. And I'll mark this. How much of this can you see?
Maybe 2 foot of it.
Okay, you can't see it. So I'm going to mark that where that comes up. And when I spin that, every time, it will come right up to where that's on the top, on that mark. And I don't know if I can get it where you can see it. Can you see that mark I put on there?
Okay, yeah, I can see that there.
Okay, now, I'll spin it, and it come up. I'll spin it again, and it come up again. That's your natural curvature of the spine. Now, on a spinning rod, you would turn it over and put the guides on the bottom. But on a casting rod, you'll put it up here where this is at. But every time you turn that over, that will come up, just like that.
Okay.
But I've got a spine finder that you put the tip in. I knocked it off the bench one day and it broke, and I never fixed it because I've been doing it this way a long time. But if you don't build on the spine, you get a big fish on, whether it be a crappie rod or a catfish rod, doesn't make any difference. At some point, it's going to try to twist on you to get to that natural curvature.
Makes sense. Well, QC Fishing asks, he's guessing that hands-on is better than reading books on rod building, or both.
It is. It is. I've told this before. But when I started building rods back in the 80s, I had a guy up here. We was doing a lot of trout fishing, and I was doing bass tournaments and stuff. And I wanted him to build me a rod, and I ended up rebuilding the motor and transmission in his Camaro for a fishing rod. At that time, I ended up with $750 in this fishing rod, and he had the car about 2 weeks, and somehow somebody bumped it where he worked, knocked it off out of park, and rolled down the hill and totaled it. And I still have the fly rod. And he is the greatest rod builder of all times. I know there's a lot of people online, and people talk about this guy being the best at this and this guy being the best at this. But Charlie Redding works out of Bennett Springs, and he's the greatest there's ever been. And he taught me how to build rods. And bless his heart, it's an addiction that I never got away from. He's still doing it. He owns his own business now. He used to work for someone. But he is hands down the greatest there's ever been. So when guys think that they got to the point where they're super duper, they're about a third the way to where he was at 40 years ago. He's that good.
Wow.
And I never pretended to be as good as Charlie is, because I have, if you'll notice on anything that I ever built, I rarely take a pen and write my name on it. I done that for my ex-brother-in-law on one here a while back, because Tom is a super guy and a real close friend of mine. But it's really hard to write. My handwriting is very poor anyhow, but it's really hard to write on a round blank.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. If you don't think so, try it sometime. But Charlie writes on all his.
I'm going to write my name on all of yours next time I see you and go fishing with you.
In my career, I've only wrote on 3. So if that tells you anything. So Tom was lucky he got it. But it's hard to do. But Charlie writes all the information on every one of them. I mean, he's just an amazing guy and do wonderful things. And in the trout world, he's like the fly rod king or whatever, but he can build anything. He just don't have time to do anything. He didn't back in those days. So that's the reason why I started building rods, and then we started building catfish rods, and people started going crazy about what I was doing, and the rest is, as they say, history. I'm going to glue this on so you guys can.
You've mixed some kind of glue epoxy there. What do you got?
It's 2-part epoxy. This is called Flex Coat, and it's a rod resin. This is slow cure, so this won't be dry till in the morning, and that's okay.
That was a faster slow cure.
I got 5-minute epoxy, and I use it a lot of times. But this stuff for tonight's show, and I'll be moving around stuff. I wanted to use the slow cure stuff just simply because if I don't have it straight after the show, I can set it and forget it. You know, what I'll do is I'll glue this on, then I'll build the arbors for that front reel seat. I don't know where we at on time. Oh, we got
we got about 22 minutes.
Yeah, I'll get this on here and get that set, and then I'll build the arbors for the front grip.
Hey, Miss Chrissy Brown has joined us. Says she's in the truck. Hard to say individual hellos, but a big group hug for everybody. Hey, Chrissy.
Hope Ernie's doing well tonight.
That's what I was going to say. Hope you and Ernie are both doing well.
Mm-hmm. And if anybody did know, Mark from Catfish and Crappie will be on right after us tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central. And depending on how he acts towards me in chat tonight, we will try to not go too far over. The more comments he makes in chat or in private message.
Yeah, I see Paul Boyd, P&B Catfishing's in here. Hi, Paul.
I don't know how much of this you guys can see.
You are front row center, my friend.
I will try to get this lined out to where it's a little bit better for next week. If we do this next week, we may skip a week. Depends on what we got going.
Chad's having flashbacks to kindergarten right now when he used to eat the paste.
Oh, I bet that's
Kindergarten.
right. Yeah, I think he still does that. We might have to ask him about that.
What? Yeah.
I hate to hear that, Chrissy. Hopefully, both of you are doing
Oh no.
are okay.
What's happening?
But Chrissy and Ernie both tested positive for COVID, and they sent Ernie
Oh,
to
no,
emergency
again.
room for an IV antibodies treatment.
Holy crap.
Everybody
I'm
keep
so sorry
Ernie
to hear that.
in your prayers. They've both just dealt with so much here lately. So it's
Mhm.
I mean, I'm going to do something. I want to get these arbors coated because they're the ones that line everything up. And these arbors are just made out of masking tape, by the way. They make them out of several different things, but this is what we use for 100 years with almost zero issues. So why change something that's work? And I'll put this in there to fill up the gap between the others.
And just so everybody knows that it's fault that we were mean for making fun of Lyle being old. He just said they've used it for 100 years.
100 years.
Well, you two stop.
No.
No, never.
Can't you play the theme song for Catfish Weekly with Dockery on the dock reel? About right there. He will be fit to be tied when this show is over. Just so
Oh,
you
he
know.
just hit the ceiling, I'm sure. So
Would be the first time.
Or the dock roof. Now, funny thing about acetone, it will clean up that glue, but it won't hurt a reel seat and it won't hurt EVA foam or cork or anything else like that.
That's cool.
That's awesome, isn't it?
that is good.
So we've got all the glue in there, and it's down in between each piece of that. Now we just got to roll it up here to where that mark is on the top. Line the reel seat up, and what I do is I look down the rod blank and I look straight down at this reel seat and adjust it to where the center is looking straight up at me, and let it dry.
And I'm
How
gonna go out
on your desk for it to be looking up to you?
Pardon me?
Nothing.
Josh,
Wow.
can you do something with him?
There we go. We took him out of the stream.
Pardon me?
I said I kicked him out.
You're such a Krampus, Josh.
Okay.
Wasn't Kane the bad brother, Chad?
Yeah, remember that Abel's rear end. So you remember that.
I think he was. Now,
Anyway, go ahead.
what we're going to do is build arbors up. Can you see this part of the rod okay, or I need to turn it a little?
We see it perfect,
You're good.
except for your
Okay.
hands on the way down.
Well, I'm moving stuff. I'm going to move the light so where I can see. How's that?
Good.
Now,
There we go.
I've got this right here, and I've got a China pencil, China marker right here, and I'm going to mark this. Whoop, that might be a little too hot.
That wasn't too loud.
It was pretty hot though,
Oh, yeah, it was flying.
pretty fast. And that's as far. Damn, I got glue every place. Somebody be proud of me. Have it all over my clothes. Okay, and then we're going to build some arbors. You always build the back one first.
Well, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'm not always that good at it. If I try to go faster, it doesn't work out sometimes. Okay, see that? I got tension on it, but it's still slide easy. In fact, I'm going to put just another wrap or two around that to make it a little bit more tension. There we go. I like that. And I always take my thumbnail and hold it against the edge. That mashes it down, and that'll help to keep the ends. There's always dirt and stuff inside these from when they ground that out, and it'll work its way up inside there. But that's perfect right there. So now we'll go up to the front here and make another one. And we'll start one.
Carolina Catfish wants to know, Lyle, if you would build a dragon rod.
A dragon rod? I do a lot of them. Lots of them. I have a specialty rod that we build that is specially made for planer boards, and I haven't done or told hardly anybody about it because I had a clown a couple years ago that I thought was a really good friend of mine, and he was wanting me to build a whole bunch of them for him, and I wouldn't do it, so I just kind of kept that on. But it's a graphite rod made especially for pulling planer boards. And I promise you, there's nothing like it on the market today at all. And see, I don't know if you can see it or not, the dirt trying to get up in there. I didn't get that maxed down quite enough. And I want to get that to where it is. But yeah, I've built rods. I've built rods for some of the biggest names in nearly every facet of fishing. But some of them didn't want nobody to know it because they're sponsored by the company.
Right.
I got that. So we just keep it on up and up. One of my favorite all-time people in the sport. I built one for one time, and he really liked it. You see how that works?
Yeah.
Okay, now foam is very forgiving. So is cork. And when I put grips on, I don't use that type of glue. And you might be surprised to know what I do use because I've never told anybody before.
Heather's like, yep, gorilla snot.
That's it. It will expand and fill all the voids, and it grabs hold of cork and EVA foam and stuff like that. It will not work for reel seats. It won't get hard. It doesn't get enough air in there.
Okay.
But it works good for grips. It's sort of inexpensive, and it just works. So I'll show you how we do that. I've got a there it is. Well, I don't want to do that and advertise for him. It's not that I don't like him. I just don't want to advertise for him unless you. I don't advertise for people unless they pay me. That's just the way it is. Now, we'll go over this like that, and that'll be more than enough. Go over that like that. It'll expand plumb up there. And you take a business card or something similar to that.
Spread that all out on there.
And I put it in the voids. Oop, and see, I got so much going out. But that's okay. We're going to put that right there. And then we're going to work this over. And see, there'll be a bubble right there. You just put that there and let that run off down in that valley.
Oh, okay.
Keep spinning it as it goes, and there'll be another bubble of it. You just let it roll. It'll roll right down in there and fall right off on every one of them. And there's I put just enough on the back one. It'll do the same thing on that rear one. And see, it's got a bigger bubble, but you just let it fall down in there, and it'll expand up to that foam. Spin it to where everything's like that, making good contact. There's that. And again, even Gorilla Glue can't hang with the acetone. That's some wonderful stuff. And I buy it by the gallon and just transfer it over to them 1 quart cans.
Damn River Boy says the first rod kit he built was a St. Croix.
St. Croix, that was what I was trying to think of a while ago.
That's kind of what I was thinking. I saw St. Croix come across there, and I'm like, I bet that's what you
I love St. Croix blanks. I built a lot of rods on them, but they didn't want to fool with building bumper rod blanks. They wasn't doing anything catfishing at that time, and they kind of thought it was a joke, and it wasn't a joke to me. But they wouldn't build blanks for me. That's okay. I don't care. I found a guy who was the best. These were the best blanks I've ever built on.
Here,
they're building
that comment, Josh.
These guys are building me some now that will be coming in December. That will be for crappie rods, and they haven't had any for a while. They've been out of them, but they're specially making some for me, and then I'll get some more of these because I'm nearly out of bumper rods. I ain't got 7 or 8 left.
Mark makes a good point. Said now St. Croix is making the Mojo Cat rods. So
yeah, they've been making those for a while, but they're nothing like these blanks. I promise you, promise you. And I like their stuff. I really do. I'm just being brutally honest with you. They're just not the same.
Now, I may have missed you saying it, but how long does it take that Gorilla Glue to set versus the other stuff that you said put on the reel seat?
See, these are porous. So in the morning they'll be locked down, ready to go.
I'm pretty porous too.
Well, that's not exactly what Dee told me, but it was close.
That's what her money's my money.
It must be because she sure bought you a nice depth finder.
Yeah.
You know why she did that?
She's a special lady.
She said I turned old, and yeah, she's pretty special.
Oh man!
Do you remember? Yeah, well, I was going to ask if Josh remembered when he turned old before me.
I know by about 9 months, something like
that. It doesn't matter.
Is that right? Are you guys that close?
We're that close.
There's a lot of us that are actually that close. Yeah. Me, Josh, Kevin, and Jeremy.
Yeah.
St. Croix makes a really good rod. Gary Loomis, he makes outstanding stuff. And he's a great rod builder. But there's a lot of companies that make good stuff. People don't realize it. There's some really good rod building companies that make blanks in the United States, but they cost a lot of money, and that's why you don't hear too much about them because people don't want to spend the money for them. But if you're doing specialty stuff and you want the best, that's where the blanks come from, is the United States.
Wait,
come on now, Brian. Chad's younger than me, so.
Now, maybe we should check. I had a butt cap come off of a rod. What do you suggest to put it back on with? 2-part epoxy. And the stuff that I use is rod building epoxy. I think I showed this a while ago. This is made by FlexCoat, but any 2-part epoxy that doesn't get hard. That's the trick to rod stuff that flexes. And you put it in rod holders where it's mashed down and stuff. The epoxy that you use on fishing rods needs to be forgiving enough that it won't crack. So anything that does not set up glass hard will work for that. And on a butt cap, you won't have near as much problem with that as you will stuff up here. So, yeah, good 2-part epoxy. Again, don't use. I got to move this. It changed when we was doing that. Don't use Gorilla Glue back there because it can't get air enough in it to dry.
Makes sense.
Okay, I've got that all set. Now we're done with that.
All right, so you'll have that set for overnight, and then you'll do the same thing to the one that you
I
just
will. Now,
blew?
if we do another show about this next week, I won't do this part again. It'll be a different rod because this one will be done and it'll be down the road motors. We'll do either decals or guides, something like that.
Yeah. Somebody was asking very early in the show, Lyle, what guides you use.
I'll get one and show you. Halana called me Papa Lyle.
Or let's keep them intrigued and say tune in next week.
Well,
Find out. No, I'm just kidding.
That's the first time Halana ever said anything to me.
Call Paul Lyle.
I am so impressed with them.
That's my sweet niece Honolulu.
Okay, I got the wrong box here. Hang on. Well, no, I got some. I had some shipment come in. I'll just grab some of these. Now, what I'm going to show you is what I recommend for guys that use braaid. There's a lot of inserted guides on the market today that are extremely hard, and they will take the beating that braaid puts on. When you're bumping, you have to use braaid. Monofilament is not sensitive enough. It's just not. And that's why you don't want a real flimsy rod, because it's not sensitive enough. These are Pac Bay triple coated guides. They are triple coated with chrome. They are stainless steel, because I eat files like nobody's tomorrow. I have a grinder here, and on the really big guides, if I'm building a big rod, I'll touch them with the grinder, and then they're easier to file. But I hand file every one of them to where it's a smooth transition for where this thread, when I'm winding it, when it hits the back of this, it needs to be really tight, and I'll hand file to where it's a smooth transition up the ramp here for them on both ends, because I want it to look nice. If it doesn't make it fish any better, but it makes me feel better about what I'm sending out. But those are the guides that I use, and I have two different types. This is can you see that?
Yeah, hold it up just a little. There we go.
Okay, this is a new style that they come out with that they talked me into trying, and I ordered a bunch of them. I'm okay with them so far, but I still have the others that come up to a point from here to here. There's no flat spot on them, and they're the ones I've used forever, and I don't have problems with it. It's really hard when I'm not having trouble with anything. It's really hard to get me to switch over to something else. But these guys, I've been buying a lot of stuff from them for a long time, and they talked me into trying these, so I bought a bunch of them, and so far so good. I haven't had any problems with the guides really. You'll get one every once in a while. Somebody will step on it or just shut it in the car door or whatever. Usually that breaks the bike though. But guides is one. Guides and reel seats is stuff that you don't have troubles with, or I don't. So I don't try to mess with stuff that's not giving me issues. But those are the ones that I use. So.
Lyle, do they make a set of? Some of my bass rods I started buying the ones with the micro guides, especially the ones when I'm using braaid.
Yep.
Do they make a set of micro guides that would hold up to a bumping rod?
Sure.
That would be awesome.
Yep. I can get you the numbers and stuff, or I can order them for you, or however you want to do it. It's not a big deal. These are not as lightweight, and when we're done with this, we're trying to get this rod, when it's done, around 7 ounces.
Okay.
We can do that with EVA foam. We can do that with cork. Now, Hapalon, which I dearly love, usually is around 8. It's just a little heavier than stuff. These guides work out really well. The inserted guides are just a touch lighter, but I'll give up the difference in weight for the quality of what I got.
Right.
That makes sense?
Yeah, and it when it doesn't, I mean, if you're distributing the weight down the blank too, it doesn't seem like that would be as bad as say having all of it in one spot of the blank.
Right. And when I get done, before we put a reel on it, it should balance out right in here. Should balance out right in there.
That'd be perfect.
Because of the length. Whoop, I've got glue coming in.
Got a drip?
Well, that Gorilla Glue expands. And it's coming out the back of the. I got more of it in there than I thought I did. That's okay. You just take that acetone, you wipe it right off. You do that 2 or 3 times, it'll quit coming out.
That's just so chance.
It's really different doing this show where I can't see a screen and know what's going on. But I trust you. I trust you guys. So, any other questions in there? Because we're running low on time now.
Let's see.
If you guys want to skip a week or 2 weeks or do this once a month, however you want to do it, it'll be fine with me. Or we can come right back next week and do another one, and we'll be doing another part of it. That doesn't matter to me.
I'm not seeing any other questions, but no, I think this is a great series to touch on and do it in a few different parts. Because I'm sure we'll get into more with the eyelets and maybe even, I know you have said before how easy, the rod tip replacements and stuff like that, which is a common thing with people that break some rod tips off here and there.
We can do it. We can do a night of repairs.
Yeah.
And people can send us messages and let us know what kind of repairs they want to see, and we'll do a night in repairs, whether it be replacing the tip top, or they got a reel seat that's come loose, or they have cork that's all chewed up. What's the best way to go about fixing that? I got a real neat trick for that.
So cool.
Yeah.
Looks like
next week, please.
Yep, looks like next week. David Smith said he'd like to see you work on it and finish it.
Okay. Well, this one, like I say, this one may be gone, but I have. Well, I'm not going to show you because the shop's such a mess. But I've got a stack of them over here that started, and I just do them in the order that they come up.
Maury said he'd like to see more Lyle. He said he'd like to see the master at work.
Thank you so much. I'll be happy to do it. I don't mind doing it at all, as long as people watch us and we get viewers that are interested in it. I haven't been watching much of chat tonight. I've left that to you guys because that's kind of your job. Fixing a snap blank. I will tell you that I can fix them, but they'll never be like they was before you broke it.
Yep.
Just so you know, they'll never be the same. Because you're going to lose a lot of the action where it broke. But yeah, you can fix it.
Well, we're going to wrap up tonight then. I think Lyle has done an amazing job showing us
yes,
shaping the foam and what kind of tools he's using there. So right after this is going to be Mark from Catfish and Crappie.
Yep.
Make sure you guys get ready to go over and head over and check them out. We've got Mr. Hands on tonight. Lyle, would it be possible to change out a plastic reel seat to an aluminum?
Yes, it is. It's extensive repair, but it can be done.
Well, there you go.
I'll explain that. Probably won't show that being done, but I'll explain that when we do that show. Have that question in chat when we do the repair show. And I'll explain to you how that works.
All right. Well, if you haven't already, please make sure you hit that thumbs up as you exit the building and go over to watch Mr. Mark. John, anything from you tonight, buddy?
No, I think we're pretty well set tonight. Tacticat is almost full. I haven't checked my email today, but as of yesterday, we had one open spot. if you go over to my channel, Weekend Angler, and check it out, the Tacticat promo video has my email address. That is the only way that I'm accepting entries to Tacticat is to get that email. And I do that. I've been asked that a few times. I do that because whenever an email comes in, it is time stamped. If anybody said, if we do hit our limit, we're not going to do the wheel on Tacticat because we're kind of short on time getting everything set up, then I could say, hey, this email arrived at this time, and I could show timestamps, show them keeping it on the up and up. So, Danny Stone, yeah, you're getting in a little bit late, buddy, but come hang out with us over at Mark at Catfish and Crappie's channel. We're all getting ready to head over that way.
That's right. We'll see you guys. Thursday night on the bait shop, we'll be recapping the couple showdown, and then we also this weekend have we will be hosting round 1, the Mississippi River versus the Potomac on the River Battle series that's coming up. That was brought to us by Mr. Brian B. Catfishing. So we're going to take turns hosting it on different channels. But Fields to Water will have the first round, the Potomac versus the Mississippi River.
Can't wait for that.
Lyle, anything from you, sir, before we wrap it up?
Michelle, we are going to tie some more jigs. We'll get Chad to help us, and maybe Josh will moderate. We'll get Kim Burnett and maybe Mark and Dockery, and a bunch of us will get together on a Saturday night. We'll tie up a bunch of jigs. And, of course, as always, I'll give mine away, and the other guys usually do too. So don't worry. We haven't forgot about tying jigs. We just making sure that we try to do something that everybody likes to see.
That's right. All right. With that said,
I'm done. Thanks, guys. You've all done wonderful. Thank you.
Well, you've done an amazing job, too.
You made it easy for us. So,
all right. Well, we'll see you guys over there.
Into my computer. I'll see you guys in there in a minute.
All right, buddy. You guys have a great week. We will see you over on Marks, and then we'll see you on Debate Shop Thursday night, followed by Panfish Nation. Have a good
week, everybody.